Can somebody comment in the chat box that my voice is audible? Am I audible to you all? Okay. Yeah, Revati. Okay, okay, thanks. I got it. Okay. So, yes. So people are still joining. So I will suggest everyone to join at the at 7 p.m. so that we can start the session as early as possible. So that will help you guys to actually interact more with me and to have your discussion in a much detailed manner. Okay. And sometimes it's very difficult to stop the session in between and add each and every participant. So it's not a problem even if you join late. I don't have such strict views about joining late in the class, but try to join at 7 p.m. Okay. So let me share my slides then, and then we can start the session. Okay, Prabhu Hedge. Okay, in between people will join and I will let them in. Let's start the session now. Okay, so I think my slides will be visible to you all. So uh, is my slides my slides were visible? Okay, thanks Agruti. So yeah. So whenever there is a question or something, yeah, Varsa, I just minimize it down so that I can talk to you guys. So there is some instruction regarding this live session. So since this is a Google Meet, so sometimes in between I don't know whether you have any doubt or something. So you can actually post it here. So I will pause the session in between and I will read your questions or anything. So you can post it down here in the chat box. I will read it down and then we will try to discuss it or I will try to answer your queries. So no problem, raise your any queries you want, you can always raise it in the chat box. So let's start the session then. Okay guys. Okay, so once again welcome you all to the NPTEL live session. This is environmental impact assessment course run in the Jan to April semester, and the course instructor is Professor Harshit Sohan Lakra, and she is assistant professor in Department of Architecture and Planning, IIT Roorkee. I'm your teaching assistant. I'm Rohit, and I'm a PMRF scholar at IIT Bombay. So, how we have planned? Somebody wants to join. Okay, so, so I am your teaching assistant Rohit, and I'll be taking this live session on Tuesday, and on Monday, some other TA. She's also a PMRF scholar, Isha. She'll be taking the live session. So, what is this live session? Why do we need a live session? Because all the course contents are there on the website or SOEM or NPTEL. So why do we need a live session now? So basically, this component of live session was there so as to enhance an interaction between the students and the teaching assistant or a course instructor. So basically, you guys must have doubt and you want to raise those doubt or you want to discuss something. So we are teaching assistant. You can always raise your doubts here. You can always get your answers, or even if you can't get an answer, we can have a discussion on what can be a probable answer or what should be done or anything you want to ask. Okay, Srijit. It's sometimes very difficult to add guys in between. I have to pause the slides. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so let's start this session. So this is about me. I'm Rohit. I'm a doctoral student at Environmental Science and Engineering Department in the Institute of Technology, Bombay. I'm also a Prime Minister Research Fellow, so you can always follow me on LinkedIn. Okay, so how I planned this session? Somebody wants to join. Okay, so how I have planned this session? Basically, the teaching methodology for this live session is that key. This is not a teaching session. So you have all the videos, you have all the course content of a professor. So I don't think I need to teach you guys. You guys can go through. Those are excellent contents and those are recorded in the class itself. So those contents you can go through those contents and get uh, and get the knowledge about this course and even get to read about the new topics like what is environmental impact assessment. What I am supposed to do here is to have a discussion on the topics that it taught in the weekly lectures that we have this week, 1 week, 2 week, 3 lectures. So this is a 12-week course, so there will be 12-week lectures, and every week we will meet on Tuesday 7 to 9 p.m. So let me take a laser here. So every week we'll be meeting at 7 to 9 p.m. at this time only. So this session will go up on every week for next 12 weeks, and there will be a summary session also. So in that summary session all the summary of the course will be discussed. Okay, so this is a discussion. There will be a discussion on the topic taught in the weekly lectures. So this will be I will try to discuss something important which I find in the weekly lectures. I think that this should be discussed in the live session. So I will discuss it then. Otherwise, you guys can suggest case sir, I wanted to know about this thing or something. So that will also discuss if we have time. Okay. Second is doubts clearing. So what we will do, we will solve the assignment questions here. So this is not the assignment questions of this run of this course. This is from previous run. So those questions are so that you guys doesn't get a advantage from this attending this live session. So these are from previous run of this course, and you can always have your doubts raised about those assignment questions, and we will try to solve that. Third component is like we want to interact with the students. Okay, so how do we interact? So always you can use the chat box that is there in the meet. Otherwise you can always post your questions on the discussion forum also. There is a discussion forum in the NPTEL tab. Please use that. So whatever questions you have about this live session, you can post it down. I will go and I will try to answer each and every question separately. So this discussion forum is for live session only. Okay, so only those questions which arouse in the live session, that will be answered on the discussion forum. Otherwise, you can raise any question on the discussion forum that will be answered by separate TAs which are TAs for this course. Okay. I think there was someone who wants to join. Deepali wants to join. Tanusa wants to ask something. Yeah, Tanusa, go on. Okay. So no question. Okay. So So in the discussion forum, any question related to live session can be raised, and question will be either addressed in the forum, or otherwise I will, if those are very important question that I think others should also benefit from that, so I will take it in the next live question also. Okay, so I think that will be a very healthy discussion between you guys and me, so that will also help you guys to gain a deeper understanding about this course. Now let's have a recap. What was taught in this week one? So week one, basically, I think most of you guys must have gone through the lectures, or otherwise, please go through the lectures videos. Those are very excellent videos and very beautifully taught by the professor. And basically, she taught about the state of global environment. So in lecture one, there was basically what are the drivers of environmental change. Lecture 2 was based on the biodiversity. Lecture 3 was based on the oceans and coast. Lecture 4 was based on the land and soil. Lecture 5 is based on the fresh water. So these things are actually taken up one by one, and these are very important actually. Okay, so please go through the lectures, and if you have any doubt, you can always ask it here. So now coming to the course itself, like our course is environmental impact assessment. So this is called in shortly called EIA. EIA is basically a process of identifying, predicting, and evaluating the likely impacts of the proposed project or development. So what does this line actually mean? So this can have a very beautiful definition, like a process of identifying, predicting, and evaluating the likely impacts of a proposed project or development. But what does this mean actually? Why do we have a EIA? Why do we need a EIA? And what are the other tools that can be used in what are the other tools that can be used if we don't have a EIA or something? Okay, so there are other tools also, not only EIA, there are other tools also that can be used, that can be very beautifully implied and get the results. But what does EIA has the benefit compared to? Okay, so then this was the actually disturbance I was talking about. So when we are actually talking in the class, then somebody wants to join. So that's please this is a request, guys, please try to join at 7 p.m. so that we can start at uh, prescribed time or stipulated time. Okay, so those who joined late, let me explain again. So basically we were discussing about the environmental impact assessment, why environmental impact assessment is necessary, and what is basically environmental impact assessment. So what happens, there are some projects, like there are some greenfield projects. Okay, so let's say there are some greenfield projects and there are some brownfield projects. Okay, so greenfield projects are those which are actually made in a natural site, or those are made from scratch. Nothing is there, then you come up with a building or something. Brownfield projects are like upgradation projects. There is something there, and then you want to upgrade it, or you want to build a bigger site. Like there is a coal power plant, you want to make a bigger coal power plant. So those are called brownfield projects. So EIA basically studies, generally EIA has more focus on greenfield project, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be applied on brownfield project. Wherever a brownfield project has effect on environment, then it should also have an EIA. But basically EIA applies by law. EIA has to be done for greenfield project. So Anything, any project that we build, like we build a coal power plant. So coal power plants are generally like now we have ultra supercritical coal power plants. Those are very very big coal power plants, like 4,000 megawatts or something, 4 gigawatts. So those coal power plants can have a very impactful impact on the environment, that like they can pollute the air, they can pollute the water itself. So these are like very big impacts they can make. Like what are the impacts, like can you guys name some of the impacts that can be made by the core power plants on the environment? So let us hear from you guys. So this is an interaction session, so let's have an interaction. Impacts, let me see if anyone has any something. Okay, air pollution, very good. Air pollution, anything else? Sure. Anything else? Carbon emission. So I think carbon emission will come under air pollution. Okay. Health issues. Very good point. Another? Anything else apart from that? Marine life destruction. But generally, coal power plants are not located on the coastal sites or something. So yeah, there is marine life destruction. But how? Can anyone say how there is a marine life destruction from coal power plant? Well, hmm, yeah. Okay, so this is a good point actually raised. So if you are talking about marine pollution or something, so this can also be a point, but the major point is that ki whenever we have a coal power plant, so there is a condenser, very big condenser, which cools down the water from steam to water. Okay, so for cooling those steam that is required in the coal power plant, we generally have a current of water flowing through the condenser. So that takes away heat from the coal power plant and then deposit it in the nearby lake or cooling pond. So that is basically a thermal pollution, the term which may not have been heard by you guys. Okay, so please read about this thermal pollution by coal power plant. This is a very big term and a very big challenge. Yeah, sure. Anyone? Loss of biodiversity, sure. How there will be a loss of biodiversity? Can anyone comment on this? There will be loss of biodiversity. Why? Because coal power plants take up a very large area, and those are situated, even if those are situated on a drought prone zone, there, nothing is there. But biodiversity is something which is there, which is always there, which has an interaction with the environment, and they are there. So they can actually impact them and actually kills them. Otherwise the pollution in the long term, they have a good impact on the biodiversity. I agree with this point. Another is, yes. Hmm. So this is what I am talking about. Ki biodiversity is destroyed because of coal power plants. Generally, the four ultra supercritical coal power plants, these are situated on a big area. So always the biodiversity will always be impacted. Okay. Another thing, another environmental impact, like if deforestation is there, cutting of trees, there is an impact on soil health also, like soil pollution is there. So there is an impact of soil health also, deposition of fly ash on the nearby fields, so agriculture is impacted. So there is always a lot of things that a single coal power plant can do. And imagine a single core power plant is doing all these things. So what you can say about all the industries, like steel industry, cement industry, iron and steel industry, aluminum smelting industry, automobile manufacturing industry. So what all these can do to the environment. Okay. Let me see if somebody wants to join. Okay, so there is always a lot of environmental impact that is uh, felt whenever we have a big project or proposed project or developmental project. So these impact has to be assessed before going for the project. Okay, so that's why we go for environmental impact assessment. Now clear why do we have an environmental impact assessment? So we basically wants to mitigate. So there is a term mitigation. This term has a specific meaning. There is another term adaptation. Okay, so we don't adapt in environmental impact report. We mitigate, we identify these are the impacts, and probably through these positive contribution these impacts can be tackled. So otherwise reduce the size of coal power plant, uh, employ some more technology so that we can save the trees or something. So these are the proposals. We Another thing about environmental impact assessment is that it has a stakeholders contribution. So whenever a coal power plant is built, so government is not the only stakeholder that is building the coal power plant. The people, the village people, or any people that are situated, the migratory birds, the animals, all those are stakeholders to those. So those has to be cared when we are building a proposed project or development. Okay, so this is how these problems are tackled through environmental impact assessment. So this is not the only tool that is available to the community or scientific community or technical community to impact, but this is one of the best assess tool that has participation of people to the development project, and we can have their views on the development project. Okay, so this is why environmental impact assessment is very much necessary. Now everyone is clear? Anything you want to ask? Okay, so now next. So I will give a very short introduction about this environmental impact assessment, how it is done, because this whole course is about this environmental impact assessment. So you will read each and everything in detailed videos, everything will be uploaded. So please just have a view about what is this environmental impact assessment. So first thing which we do in environmental impact assessment is that we screen and scoping. Like not every project should have a EIA. Okay, and if the project is selected, at what scale this project has to be under the EIA, environmental impact assessment. Okay, another thing is now we have screened the project, like this will have now screening and scoping is done. Then another thing is that we identify the risk, and assessment of the environmental risk is there. Okay, so we need to have data about this. We need to like one of the risks which we can say ki, after building a coal power plant the trees will fell. So we need to have the data how much trees is going to fell. So generally in newspaper you see that 4,000 trees will be cut for this building of this road from Mumbai to Pune. Okay, so building those roads, those data comes from the environmental impact assessment report itself. So this um, thing is done before the project itself. Then we have mitigation measures. Okay, what can we do to mitigate this? Like if we have to cut 4,000 trees, so as per forest department, for every tree you cut you need to grow or plant 10 trees. So this is the mitigation measure. Otherwise you can shift the trees from one position to other position. These are some of the mitigation strategies. Another thing is decision making. So in decision making, basically a report is submitted and then basically a regulatory agency will make the final decision. Like some of the government agencies will take help of this report so they can arrive at a decision. This is one of the major criteria environmental impact assessment helps in building a project. It says that take this decision based on these results. So that is why it is important. And then we have monitoring, like environmental parameters are regularly monitored for possible impacts. Somebody wants to join. Okay. Okay, so these are 7 steps of environmental impact assessment. So I will not go in detail about this, but just have a look at this. Any questions you raise? So most of your questions will be answered in the subsequent lectures in week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So don't worry, don't be upset about, like we have discussed a very short discussion about this environmental impact assessment. Now we will move to the assignment questions. Like these are from the previous run of the assignment, and through these assignment questions we will discuss each and every concept very clearly in crisp and precise manner. If there are any questions. Hello. See, Jay, you can always write to the discussion forum about your problem that you faced in submitting the assignment. Like I think assignment last date is 7th of Feb, na? Please check again. Please check again. I think the last date to submit the assignment is 7th of February. So you can always submit that. And week 0 assignment is just a typical assignment. You can attempt it any day. Okay. So don't worry. Those week 0 assignments are not counted. Those are just for your knowledge. Okay. So basic level assignments are there. Any other question you want to ask or anyone want to ask? Okay. So if there are no questions, then and don't worry guys, please ask questions so that will make this session an interactive one. Okay. And if you want a break in between, so we can have a break of 2 minutes, then again discuss. So you guys are not loaded with lots of facts, concepts, and everything. Please take this decision, take this interactive session as a simple discussion forum to raise your doubt, to get it cleared. Okay, to have a healthy discussion also. So what is EIA? So I think most of you guys will be will mark this answer very correctly. What is a EIA? So A, B, C, D, we have 4 options. Which one is EIA? So generally we see from the last slide, EIA is a process of identifying, predicting, evaluating the likely impacts of project development or development to define mitigation actions to reduce negative impacts and to provide positive contribution to the natural environment and well-being. Okay, so first option is itself wrong, second option is correct, third option is a report written by government representatives on the plant development impacts of environment, socio-cultural issues and others. So it is not written by government representatives only, it can be written by consultant agency also. And it is not only about the impacts, it's also about the mitigation strategies and stakeholders participation. Okay, now the question comes, the thought-provoking question: why EIA is important? So I will not discuss this question because you guys already know. In the previous slide I discussed why EIA is important. Why not cost benefit analysis, or what are the other analysis that can be done instead of EIA? Okay, so this is one of the analysis that can be done, but I will talk about this later. But why not cost benefit analysis? Earlier, before EIA has come, generally it was not mandatory for government to go for EIA or any development project. So generally what they do, they did cost benefit analysis, like this is the cost, this is the social cost, this is the benefit that we derive from the projects, the this much village will get the power if you build a power plant. This is the typical analysis they do. In techno-economic analysis, we basically see for the technical parameters, like this will be the efficiency, this is the cost, this cost will be repaid in this much year, and like 50 years this power plant will run, then we have a profitable business. So these things are generally handled in techno-economic analysis. What these lacks, why not these cost benefit and techno-economic analysis? Can any one of you shed a light on this? Anything. If you are wrong, that's okay. Just say why not cost benefit or techno-economic analysis, instead why we are going for EIA. No one wants to attempt this question. See, always try to attempt questions. So even if you are wrong, you are wrong. That's okay, totally okay. You will learn a new thing. So why not cost benefit? Why not techno-economic? Yeah, anyone wants to say something? Nothing? Okay. So, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this a very good answer, I will say. Not technical answer from technical point of view, but yeah, a very good answer. This is the answer in simple terms. In simply, this is the answer. But I will tell you about this in a complex way. Why not cost benefit? So basically, you see the term cost. Okay. So even if we incorporate the environmental parameters like trees or something, how do you account a cost for environmental parameters? Can you account a cost for environmental parameters? Like how do you account a cost for trees? How do you account a cost for air, the air you breathe? How do you account a cost for water? Nothing. We can't account a cost for water. It's free. Okay, so that makes it very difficult to do a cost benefit analysis for environmental terms. Okay, very difficult. You cannot. So somebody, you will assign a cost like air is like 100 rupees per volume, but somebody will come and say this is free. Air is always free. But but this is not free na. Air has a cost. You can't account it simply. So that is why cost benefit analysis for environmental projects or something which have environmental value is very difficult to do. Okay, techno-economic analysis are basically technical and economic analysis. We only see it in technical terms, like what is the efficiency, what is the cost, uh, how much will be the cost will be repaid in how much year, or what is the depreciation value or something. Okay, so that is why it is very difficult to do a cost benefit analysis or technical analysis. And one more thing is that even if you do, you cannot support um, it with the stakeholders participation. Okay, so very difficult to tell people like this is the cost or something, and then you have this benefit, and then let's go for the project. People will say, you are making our lands barren and our agricultural field full of this fly ash, and then you are saying cost benefit, it is very good project. Okay, so this is always a problem. So to handle this problem, EIA as a tool is a very good alternative, like a very good, not a very good alternative, it is a very important tool, so that you can take their views also, take that view also, and then decide whether this project is actually beneficial or not, we should go for it or not. Okay, or if like if it's a very important project, then how do we mitigate the different environmental impacts that are going to be there due to this project? Now another thing is that we have a life cycle assessment, a very important tool in hands of engineers. Basically they do a lot of life cycle assessment. So life cycle assessment actually, one of the problem with cost benefit was that we cannot account, like quantify the pollution or something, or the impacts. Life cycle assessment quantifies everything, like this will be the impact on human health, this will the impact on air, or this is the impact on toxicity. But the main thing is that you cannot, life cycle assessment doesn't put a cost term to it, monetary value to it. First thing. Second thing is that it lacks the stakeholder participation. So no views of people is taken into consideration when you do a life cycle assessment. It's just a software. You have a data inventory. You just put the data inventory in that, and then you generate the results, and you say, wow, this is a very good project. No air pollution. Very good air pollution control devices is there. Okay, so this is the main problem with LCA and EIA. Okay, so that is why EIA actually helps the government to arrive at a conclusive decision. LCA doesn't. LCA actually evaluates the project in terms of environmental impacts. Okay, so now you know the alternative tools also, but why EIA is better. So another thing is that I put a slide itself, like what is the difference between a life cycle assessment and environmental impact assessment. So both are basically assessment. Both are I will say both these tools are very important analytical tools and strategic tools, but those are very in different directions. They think in different directions, in different terms. The problem they want to identify is totally different. Okay, so LCA is basically an analytical tool specifically designed to assess the environmental impacts related to the whole production chain of goods. Okay, whereas EIA is a procedure that supports decision making. Okay, so this term is there, decision making. Here we don't have any decision making. LCA doesn't support decision making. We can use the outputs from LCA to arrive at some conclusion, but we cannot, LCA outputs cannot be there a main as a main output to support a decision making, like we should go for this power plant or not. Okay, and EIA is a decision making with regards to environmental aspects of a much broader range of activities. Okay, so EIA actually covers a lot of trees felling also, effects on everything. LCA doesn't do that. LCA, we have a boundary, we put the things there, like there will be a boiler, there will be this, there will be this, there will be this, and then we see that if we operate these things, what are the indirect emissions to the environment from these things. So LCA results can be used in EIA to arrive at a decision making. So both these tools actually complement each other in some terms. Okay, but not totally. Now you got to know about this, the difference between these two strategic tools or analytical tools. So basically this is the LCA graph. We generally have a goal and scope definition, then we build a life cycle inventory. So I will not go into detail like what is life cycle inventory, and those things are not covered in this course, out of scope of this course, but these are also important. Then we go for impact assessment, what are the environmental impacts out of this, and then we interpret those results, and that's all. That is what LCA does. Okay, so question one is over. I think if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. I will have a pause of 2 minutes here so that I can take question from you guys. Any questions in the chat box? No questions? When do we choose LC and EIA? Okay, so very good question. Very good question. So when we begin a project, when we think of a project, like we have to build a power plant. So you are a chief minister of this state or a minister in the cabinet. So you want to build a road, okay, express highway. So before building that express highway, you perform a EIA. Should we go for what are the environmental impacts and everything? And after building that road, you compare that road with the already existing infrastructure or other thing to see whether the impacts from this road and that other road is similar or different, and if it's different, why it is different, and should we go for other type of road or should we go for this type of road. That is the main function of LCA. So LCA doesn't support decision making. LCA just for comparison of impacts from these two type of projects. Okay, so those has to be in similar nature. Anything else? Which are the regulatory agency involved in EIA? Okay, so basically EIA, we have state environmental authorities there, and then we have central environmental authority also there, but generally states are given the power to uh, oversee the EIA report. So there is a total committee and nodal agencies are there in every state that looks into this EIA thing. And some of the nodal agency and work actually overlap with the State Pollution Control Board also, SPCB also, and CPCB also. So functions are actually overlapping, but for a specific project, there is a nodal agency that looks into this EIA thing. Now, who conducts this EIA? Okay, so how can I say? Let's say your municipal corporation, in which you, if it's a big city, then municipal corporation tries to build a road. Let's say it is going to build a road. Okay, so the regulatory agency will be the municipal corporation itself. Okay, like in case of Mumbai, it's Brihan Mumbai BMC, Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, or outside Mumbai, it's MMRDA, Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority. So these are the regulatory agencies. So they don't prepare this report by itself because they don't have the expertise. So they hire consultant from outside. Like we have, you must have heard about PwC, Deloitte, Sphera, Jish. So these are some of the consultants. They offer the services like we will prepare the report for you. Okay, so they prepare the report for the regulatory agency. Then these reports are actually submitted to the nodal agencies for verification, and then after verification, like this project is okay, then ministry in the state actually okays the project based on the EIA report. Okay, not every project requires a EIA report. This is the main thing. So there are specific guidelines which project will require a EIA report. Okay, any other questions? No questions? Can we move further? Should we move further? What is EIA? Okay, Maghi Chan. I'm sorry to pronounce your name incorrectly if it is. So, what I could read from the screen is EIA. EIA is basically environmental impact assessment. So, we basically do a lot of exercises in 7 stages, which I shown in the slides. And because of this, we arrive at a decision and to mitigate the environmental impact that may arise due to these activities or development project which we are taking up. Okay, so this is in EIA in simple terms. Varsha is saying role of EIA in IPCC, is it only because of climate change? So Varsha, I will say yeah, EIA is not only because of IPCC itself, See, IPCC is a United Nations Assembly or something that looks into the environmental. It has conference of parties or something, intergovernmental panel or climate change. So EIA's climate change doesn't happen only because of environmental concerns only. There are a lot of other anthropological factors also that contribute to the climate change. Okay, so EIA is actually, I will say, helping mitigate the climate change or to helping in that direction. But EIA is basically required because of we have laws, and those laws are actually much older than IPCC itself. So we have environmental laws from 1986. So we generally want to quantify the environmental impacts and try to mitigate it. Okay, which type of projects need EIA? So there are list of projects. Every state has drawn a list of projects. Generally, power plants will need, roads will need, big roads, greenfield roads. If you are building, then it will need a EIA. Brownfield roads like generally don't need. If it's a very big highway project, like you are promoting upgrading a state highway to national highway, then it may need EIA. So there are other type of projects also, building cement industry or something which has a polluting nature. So if you see you are building a residential project, like you are building a house for yourself, so that doesn't need EIA. You don't need to submit a EIA report to your municipal council or municipal corporation. Okay, so there are several classification of industries which generally need a EIA. Okay, anything else? Can a project proposal be rejected after doing EIA? Yeah, sure. It's a decision making tool. A project proposal can be rejected, but in India, generally we mitigate. We perform mitigation. So these are the environmental impacts. So we try to mitigate those environmental impacts. So it actually helps in. So if the environmental impacts cannot be mitigated, then project has to be rejected. Okay. Like if you are building something related to mercury and it is polluting a nearby river, so river cannot be mm, made pollution free even if you put hundreds of crores or something. So in that case the projects are rejected also. So don't worry, in India projects are actually rejected because of this EIA report. There are several examples. You see that environment clearance is not there. So environment clearance is basically based on this EIA report only. Okay. But the big residential project where it's mixed use is EIA needed. Uh, I think I'm not sure about it, so I can't comment on with surety. Like big residential project, see, with big residential project, I don't know how much big you want to talk about. Like, is it a township? If it's a township, then surely AA will be needed because townships are quite large. If it's a single 20 floor, 40 floor apartment building, then I don't think they need a EIA report. Okay, I think a lot of question and quite interesting questions you guys are asking. So this is quite good. What is the minimum area where EIA can be implemented? Sarita, I don't know. I don't know about the minimum area where EIA can be implemented. I don't know means I don't remember this minimum area. I don't think there is a criteria of minimum area where EIA can be implemented. I am not sure about this criteria, so I can't comment. Okay. So you guys always can have search it on the basically EIA reports. You can see the EIA reports on Google and see whether there is a minimum area criteria where EIA can be implemented. Okay. Any other question? Area just dependent on the project. Okay. So Versa is saying area is just dependent on the project. Okay. Sir, who is responsible to make the EIA report? Yeah. Okay, Mrinalini. So Responsibility lies with the regulatory agency. Like the regulatory agency which I am talking about is the one who is controlling the project, like the development agency, developing agency. So the responsibility lies with the developing agency to prepare the AI report. But generally they lack expertise. They don't have the environmental engineers or environmental consultant to prepare this report. So they generally, what they do, they outsource this business opportunity to some other companies. So there are specific companies in India who are expertise in preparing this AI report. So some of them which I know is PwC, Deloitte. I don't know Morgan Stanley does it or not. Just Sphera, all these companies actually prepare the AI report. What qualification would one need? So I'm not sure about this qualification. Generally, they have master's student working with them and also bachelor's student, and they are actually like some of the softwares they must know before going for this AI report. So I don't know much about this qualification criteria. They generally train the students also, so they recruit it from the engineering college, they train them, and they work on these EIA projects. So graduates of environmental sciences, climate science, sustainable development, etc. Yeah, they are generally graduates of so EIA field is not restricted to this graduate of environmental sciences and climate sciences only. So I see a lot of people who have not graduated from these fields also working in this field. Like I've seen many other people also who are quite expert. They are expert in this field. So if you have an environmental science degree or something, you may have an added advantage in this field. Okay, because you will understand the impacts much better now. Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, welcome. So what we will do, it's 7:57. So let's have a break of 3 minutes so you guys can revise the slides. So I will put the slide. How much of a futuristic course is EIA? Very futuristic. Don't worry, this EIA thing is hot thing. So in nearby future, today in today's India case, I am saying only thousand of the companies are doing EIA for every project or something. Only thousand. But in future terms, all companies this is going to be compulsory for each and every big projects. Okay, so every not only EIA, every company has to come up with their environmental reports also. Most of the companies are now by voluntarily they are coming up with the environmental reports. So don't worry, these things are quite high in demand because government is pushing for this. United Nations, all these agencies are quite active because of climate change thing. So would EIA have anything to do with green taxing? No, 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 no. It doesn't have to do anything with green taxing. Those are quite different domain, and those are actually uh, government decisions based on the different thing. EIA is totally different. Whether we should build this project, what are the impacts or something. So yeah, EIA reports can be like used to make a decision, like whether how much the green tax should be implemented on which industry. Like if we have 10 of hundreds of EIA reports for this road infrastructure, and every report is saying that there are environmental impacts. So if we have a green tax, then we can have a more green tax on road infrastructure which are using older technologies. Okay, so these actually help in arriving a decision making, but these are totally different area of domain. They are called sustainability report. Okay, Neeraj. Okay, so till then you guys will the PPT be, yeah, PPT will be uploaded and the link will be shared through problem solving reminder. So when you will go to this NPTEL, there will be a tab there, problem solving reminder. So these PPT and this whole session is actually recorded, so it will be uploaded on the YouTube also, so you can always go there and see and rewind and practice for the exams. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so let's have I think Neeraj has a question or something. Okay, so Neeraj wants to have a thumbs up. So, take you guys. I'm sharing the slides. Just keep a look at it. If you have any other question, then let's have a break of 1 or 2 minutes, and then again we will be discussing the other futuristic questions of the assignments. So we have lots of assignment question and a lot to discuss. So keep it short. Come fast. Okay. Okay. So Subham has asked after public hearing to start. What are the steps that after public hearing to start industry budget? So there are few steps actually. So total there are 7 steps. So after public hearing, generally a report is actually made and submitted to the regulatory agency. Then based on that, a decision is taken, and then mitigation options are actually performed. So think here you can see. So first is screening, which of the projects will need EIA. Then we have a scoping, how much will be the scope of this EIA study. Then we assess it. Then we report it, and based on the report, we actually review it with the help of stakeholders participation. And then we have a decision making step, and then whether we should go for this project or not, whether we should discard this project or we can go ahead with the projects. And then we have monitoring. Okay, so these are the steps. Okay, so no one wants to join. Let's move fast then. We have lots of questions to discuss, and we have only 40 minutes or something. 50 minutes, sorry, 55 minutes. So that's a whole lot of time. Don't worry, we can discuss easily. So, okay, so everybody is there. So let's start. So second question is expand ACA. So this is State Environmental Authority Strategic Environmental Assessment and Strategical Evaluation and Assessment, and C Environmental. So this is not okay, ACA. ACA is basically Strategic Environmental Assessment. Okay, so this is quite a simple question, so you just need to know. So these type of questions can come in the assignment and also in the final exam, so please be focused on these type of definitions also, sorry, abbreviations. Which type of project usually requires EIA? Not and, it's a EIA. Okay, so this is the question when you guys are actually raising a lot in the this what you say in the chat box. So yeah, small houses we don't go for EIA. Okay, dams and reservoirs we have to go for EIA because there are lots of impact due to dam. A lot of villages get submerged inside the water, and then we have industrial plants, large scale, not small scale. You don't go for MSME type of things for EIA. Okay, then we have garden, so you are developing a garden. So even if garden is a good thing, so generally we don't need a EIA for environmental thing. Otherwise garden are a very small development, so no, we don't need EIA. Sorry. So the correct answer will be answer B and answer C. Another thing is that why only big projects require EIA? Why? Can anyone answer why only big projects require EIA? Anyone who has a good. EIA notification, it's law. So Neeraj is saying ki due to EIA notification and its law, we generally require only big projects. So this is also correct. But why does EIA notification have only big projects? So basically, if we are going for every small projects, so there will be lot of EIA reports generation takes a lot of time. It has to go through 7 stages. It has to go through stakeholders participation, then there are review meetings also. So these things take a lot of time. So if we go for each and every projects, if we go for every small projects for EIA, then the development work can also hamper. So we don't go for it. And generally a small project don't have so much of environmental impacts as compared to the large project. Like a small project like building a small house doesn't have much impact to the environment rather than building a whole township. Okay, so this type of project require big projects require EIA, small projects we don't require EIA. Okay, and going to the next question, then in India we have Environmental Protection Act. So Environmental Protection Act was basically enacted in, please remember these things. So generally these are very easy questions, most of you guys must have known, and If you read newspaper, I think every time there is always a article there. Okay, Environmental Protection Act was first enacted in 1986. So these things you must remember. Okay, so one question is there: which was the first act that was based on protection of environment that was enacted in India? So many of you may answer, sir, it was Environmental Protection Act or it was Air Act or something. No, it was Water Act. Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. It was the first act that was enacted by the government of India for the protection of water. Then we had this Air Pollution Prevention and Control of Act 1981, and then we needed a concern that no, we cannot regulate only air and water. We need to have a wholesome act, a comprehensive act that contains all the elements of the environment. So we went for this Environmental Protection Act. Okay, expand CPCB. So I think these questions are quite easy, are very easy questions. So CPCB everyone's know, Central Pollution Control Board. Okay, so basically this is a very typical questions that can be asked in week zero assignments. So these assignments basically judge your basic knowledge about this course or something. Okay, what is the rule of CPCB? So this is a very important question. What is the rule of CPCB? Can anyone of you tell me what is the rule of CPCB? What does CPCB do? Why do we have CPCB? Anyone? Okay, so let me tell you, CPCB is basically Center Pollution Control Board. So in the name itself, you know, it is basically a board for regulating and monitoring the pollution that is coming from industry or anything. So it doesn't have only monitoring and control authority, but it also provides suggesting measures to the government also. So state CPCB provides for CPCB provided for central government, and similarly SPCB provided for state government. Other than that, there are various other rules of CPCB and SPCB also that you will know later, or you can always search it on Google. So those rules are very clearly defined. So like implementing fines, regulating the new rules and laws of environment, whether these are implemented successfully in the state or something. Okay. Which sector is responsible for most carbon emission? So this is a very important question. I have put a power plant here also. So which sector is responsible for most of the carbon emission? So always try to read the questions very carefully. So the first question is asking carbon emission. It's not asking most emission or something. If it's carbon emission. So carbon emission are generally mostly from the power plants. Why? Because we burn coal there, and coal is actually combusted and converted to CO2, CO, and some other gases, which are majority of the gases generated from the power plants. So power plants electricity generation is the major sector which is responsible for most of the carbon emission. And this is the power plant. This is actually a cooling tower, and there will be condenser here itself, which actually um, the thermal water, actually heated water, goes into this cooling tower and then spread down. Then water air is actually passed through from the beneath, and it cools the water, and then water is collected and again circulated in this condenser. Okay, so these things are there. Most of the people actually confuse it with this is the smokestack or chimney or something. So this is not the chimney. Okay, this is a cooling tower in hyperbolic shape. Okay, any questions on power plant? No questions. Okay, so which transportation mode is responsible for most of the carbon emission? Anyone who knows this the answer? So these are basically strictly fact-based questions. So basically in India, transportation, if you go for transportation mode, most of it is road transport. Okay. So most of our luggage move through road transport and passengers and freight luggage. So road transport actually contributes a lot to the power emission. You know, a lot of cars are there. The cars population increasing every year by year. Cars, bikes, everything. Maritime shipping is also contributing, but in a very less amount. Okay, shippings are very regulated industries, so you can't pollute a lot in sea. Then we have aviation. It's aviation. It's aviation. Okay, aviation is basically aeroplanes. So the emission from these are also very much regulated. Then we have rails. So compared to all these three, road transport actually contribute a lot to the carbon emissions. Okay. Then we have the modern environmental movement focuses on. So if we see the modern environmental movement, generally it focuses on risk. It doesn't focus on much on preservation. So earlier the movement were basically focusing on preservation, like Chipko Andolan. Okay, but modern environmental movement we see that what are the risks, like Kunnakulam nuclear plant. So a risk is associated with that nuclear plant. So people are mostly agitated because of those risks only. Okay. So most of the modern environmental movements are focusing on risk B. So these are actually typically I have shown how the degradation, conservation, and sustainable development traps and all those things that contribute a lot to the ecological damage and everything that basically focuses of the environmental movement or something. Okay. Now, transported dust is not directly responsible for which of the following. So if you see the transported dust, what is a transported dust and what is dust basically? So dust is something which are fine particles that can be carried out as okay, that can be carried out with wind and get deposited to a larger area or something which can have harmful impact on a lot of things, like transported dust is actually responsible for human respiratory ailments. So can anyone name any human respiratory ailments or disease that is due to the transported dust? Anyone? Somebody has written something. Asthma, yeah, sure. Asthma, a lot of people TB is not due to transported dust. Okay, Neeraj, TB is not due to transported dust. Asthma is there due to transported dust. Asthma is very much due to transported dust. TB is due to bacterium. Okay, Mycobacillus something. Tuberculosis is the name. Bronchitis, yeah, bronchitis also. Bronchitis is somewhat responsible. Transported dust is. Alveoli contraction is also a good answer. Alveoli contraction, because these dust particles actually get into the alveoli and the contraction of the skin allergies is also, I don't know about skin allergy, but I think it's correct. Skin allergy, some dust particles can actually irritate the skin. No, 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 it doesn't contribute to cancer. Dust allergy, yeah, A3 is correct. Cancer is basically not due to dust only. It can be like indirect impact effect on cancer, but which is not quantified as of yet. Cancer is very much different, a different disease where uh, the tissues in the cell itself actually doesn't behave in a genetically uh, feasible way in which our body is designed. Okay, eye allergy, that's also correct, Neeraj. Pneumonia is something which is contributed due to some virus or something, I know. I don't know pneumonia, but yeah, the elements, the effect of pneumonia can be felt very badly when there is a transported dust. Okay, so that's also correct. Times. So yeah. Okay, so human respiratory elements, I got to know a lot of things. So, and fertilization of distant forests. So yeah, fertilization of distant forest is also a correct thing because transported dust can go to travel to a long distance, damaging infrastructure. So this is also correct because some of the infrastructure situated inside this parameter of the transported dust can be damaged because various sensitive instrument electronic infrastructure especially are very much uh, persistent to not persistent, very much prone to this transported dust. Global warming not directly responsible, transported dust is not directly responsible for global warming. Okay, because global warming is totally different concept in which the rays of the sun come and then it heats the earth because of the increased amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. So transported dust has no role in this global warming, at least not directly. So this is the diagram actually. So if this is the dust source, so most of the dust will actually fall within 3 kilometer range. Okay, so dry fallout from the low level dust cloud forms lowest deposit here, which thins and become finer in downward direction. So as we go downward, more finer particles will be there. Then we have strong upward motion of wind. Okay, so these high level dust clouds can travel and descending motion. A lot of dust particles are deposited here also. Then we have rainfall and then we have wet deposition, dust and precipitation also. Okay, so there are a lot of things uh, that is happening with transported dust. So I will suggest to please you can see this diagram and understand the motion of the transported dust. This is a very good diagram. I have taken it from a research paper. How this dust actually travels to a large distance and what are the various impacts actually, not the various impacts, what are the various ways through which it travels. Okay, so if there are any questions, you guys can want to ask questions. Nothing. Okay, so no problem. Now the this is a very important concept, background rate of extinction. So basically, background rate of extinction is defined in the IPCC report and various other reports also. So in normal way, we can see some of these species are actually get extincted per year. So what is the rate of this extinction? So basically, we say that Earth's normal extinction rate is often assumed between zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.1, like zero point 0.1 species to 1 species per 10,000 species. So if we have 1 lakh species, then per 100 years, 10 species will become normally extinct. Okay. So this is the background rate of extinction. So we'll see this background rate of extinction in a graph also and understand what are the various mass extinction event that happened on the earth within a span of like millions of years or some hundreds thousand of years. Okay, so for this background rate of extinction the correct answer is answer B, which is here. Okay, So, if a question is asked in the exam like what is the background rate of extinction, so please remember that it's normal extinction rate. Background rate is basically a normal extinction rate, which is often assumed to be between zero point 0.1 to 1 per thousand species per thousand per not thousand 100 years. Okay. Now we'll understand this extinction and background rate of extinction with a graph, with a proper graph. So you guys please look into these two graphs. I have taken it from two various important sources and try to explain it to you guys the various mass extinction event that happened on the earth. Okay, like millions of years ago. So have a look at this data and then we discuss. Okay. Can you guys focus on this? This is the background rate of extinction, like marked in green. Okay. Here also, if you see, this is the background rate of extinction. So, are you guys getting something important from this graph? Someone wants to join. So, did you guys notice something special in this graph or something which you want to say? Anything about this extinctions or something? So if it's background rate of extinction, if it's between zero point 0.1 to 1, so why is this varying between 0 to 10? Always ask the question why. Why if it's the definition itself is 0 0.1 to 1, so why it is varying between 0 to 10? Okay. Okay, so let's see then. You guys seem to be much more lost in the graph or something. Okay, so it's 0.1. See, first see the definition. It's 0.1 and 1 species per thousand species per 100 years. So leave the 100 years behind. Per thousand species. So how many species are there in the earth? A lot of species, a more thousand and lakhs of species. So based on that, this background rate of extinction is there, and it is decreasing day by day. Why it is decreasing day by day? Background rate of extinction, because 600 million years ago earth has lots of species. Okay, so this background rate of extinction based on the definition was more, but uh, as we go for much near to the present era, the species are getting less and less due to lots of events, lot of global warming, everything, climate change. So we are losing species at a faster rate. So that is why the background rate of extinction is also growing, also diminishing rapidly. Okay, overall background rate of extinction, not background rate of extinction, diminishing rapidly. And if you draw a line, whatever these spikes are there in after this line, these are actually mass extinction events. So I've tried to put a graph from a very important source, Our World in Data. So you can go to this website and see these graphs also. So they have clearly identified this mass extinction um, history in Earth history. So first one, if you see, first one is basically end Ordovician era, and this is 86% of species were getting lost, and 57% genera, 27% families extinct. Okay, then we have late Devonian, then end Permian, so million years ago. Okay, then end Triassic, and then end Cretaceous. Okay, so we had this Jurassic Park era and Cretaceous era where dinosaurs were there. So you can see a mass extinction event happened here also. Okay, so so you can see that there is a natural rate for this extinction, species extinct, but due to our anthropological factor other than the natural factor which were already working, the anthropological factor actually accelerated this rate of extinction. So this is quite uh, like very disadvantageous. We are losing species at a much higher rate now. Okay, and a mass extinction event. So when you identify a mass extinction, why mass extinction? Why do we call it a mass extinction event? So mass extinction event is basically defined by loss of at least 75% of species within a short period of time. So how much is this short period of time? Geologically, this is around 2 million years. So 2 million years on a large scale is very short. So you can see 500 million years or something here. But still 2 million years is a large, uh, good amount of years. It's 20 lakh years. Okay. But if you see the whole lifespan of Earth, 2 million years is nothing. Then we move to the next question. These questions are actually much easy. You just have to identify whether the statement given is true or false. So apart from the statement given, you need to understand what is the meaning of the terms which is there in the question. These are the important concepts on which you have to focus more. So these questions can be altered and some other question can be asked. But if you know these terms, you can easily answer those questions. So state true or false. One, health is not relevant in the prevention and control of zoonosis, which accounts for more than 60% of human infectious disease. Okay, so it's saying it's given data that zoonosis, which accounts for more than 60% of human infectious disease, whether it's a true data or false data. So basically it's a false data. Why? So I put a graph here also. Why it's a false? So
basically it is accounting for more than 75%, and it's not only relevant in prevention and control, actually mitigation also. Okay, so this is why this statement is false. So you need to focus what is a zoonosis disease. Or it's not a zoonosis, basically a zoonotic disease. So zoonosis is such as COVID-19. So we have this COVID-19 pandemic here just 2 3 years before. So COVID-19 are diseases that are transmitted from animals to human. Okay, and in the recent time we see that most of the diseases which are coming to the humans or identified are actually zoonoses. They are zoonotic diseases come from the human. These viruses or bacteria were not present in the human body earlier. Okay, so one of the disease which we identify is COVID-19. Can you name any other diseases which are there in the animals and transferred from animals to the humans? Anyone? Let me see if anyone has answered this question on the chat box. Zika. Oh wow, I could see a lot of sixth mass. So Mrinalini is saying sixth mass extinction is fast approaching due to human actions. All other mass extinction has been quite far apart, but the next one might not be so. Might Next one might not be so. Okay. So sixth mass extinction is due to human action. This is quite a correct statement. I will not deny it because anthropological factors have actually accelerated the mass extinction. Rate of extinction. All other mass extinction have been quite far apart. Yeah, they were situated much apart, but not the next one might not be so. Yeah, this is actually true, and not only because of this uh, anthropological factor only. Like mass extinction can happen due to like asteroids coming and hitting the earth also, because when asteroids hit the earth, the whole earth goes full with dirt, and then sunlight doesn't come, then every crops will die, every tree will die, and based on our food chain we will also die. So it can happen due to a lot of reason, but if we see the current status, yeah, the mass extinction is approaching at a much higher rate, and we need to work towards it. Atri has said that SARS has come from animal. Nipah has come from bat. I don't know about SARS. SARS has also come from animal, I think. Nipah, SARS was from bat. Nipah was from bat or something. SARS, I don't know. Bird flu is there, huh? Yeah, bird flu H1N1 is also from yeah, influenza, Zika virus, bird flu, yeah, bird flu, avian influenza, correct. Ebola. What about this? This is also from an animal, HIV/AIDS, human immunodeficiency virus. Okay, acquired immunodeficiency virus. So syndrome. So this is also from an actually animal. This was there in the monkey in Africa. Then it traveled to the human body because of some experiment. I don't know for sure about that experiment, but there was some scientific experiment through which it transferred to the human body. Okay. Now there is a true and false statement. So these type of questions are actually bonus questions. So always try to answer these type of questions, because these questions can actually help you in securing marks very easily. We don't have four answers. You just have to mark true and false. And most of the questions are quite straightforward, now, so you can always answer these questions. India is third largest. See, it's data based question. So you just need to know this data. What is the what is the rank of India in fish production, and okay, and second largest aquaculture fish production country in the world. Aquaculture is something inland fishing. Okay, so we have pond or something, then we put small fishes, uh, and then they grow into large fishes. Then we sell it to the market. Okay, third largest fish producing. That is quite correct. So I put a stat. So this is a old stat, but the current stat also has the same thing. So this was actually from PIB, Government of India, Press Information Bureau. So I thought that putting this will be authentic source. Apart from I verified this from other sources also. So most of them are mentioning the same thing. So India is currently world second largest producer of fish, second largest aquaculture fish producing country, total producing okay 12.5 million metric tons, 8.9 million tons from inland sector. Okay, so total is 12.59, 8.908 from inland sector, from land. Okay, so ponds, rivers, etc. 3.69 million tons from marine sector, like from sea, oceans, etc. And this is the 10.14 is the average growth of fish production, and worth about 45,106 fish products are actually exported to other countries. So these are actually contributing to the forex reserves also. To see how important is this aquaculture. And in India, if you see, Gujarat is the leading state in marine fish, like fish from the seas, ocean, everything. And Andhra is the leading state in inland fish. Okay, so Andhra is the, yeah, I remember most of the fish is actually coming from Andhra. A lot of fish farms are there in Andhra. So if somebody from Andhra he can give us a good confirmation about this inland fishing thing. Okay, so yeah, so these data are actually very important, and you if you could get a conclusion from the data. So questions are basically asked not from the data. It won't ask like how much is the metric tons of production. It will ask a conclusion like India is second largest producer of fish, something like that. Okay, what is the average growth of, like average growth is greater than 10 or something. So always focus on this type of thing. I could see no questions or something on this. No questions. Then let's move to the next question. Then this is quite an interesting question. So what are the corals? So the first question arises here. Before asking this, attempting this question, the first question is what is the coral and what is coral triangle? So coral triangle region is basically is what the question is asking here. But before that, we need to know what is the coral. So if you see, corals are basically what do you say, type of stones or something. It's not a stone, it's structure in itself. It supports an algae and other marine animals. Okay, it's a sponge like things that has sponge like structure, and it supports the various marine and algae. So one of the algae is Juzamthali algae. Okay, that is supported by this coral, and they form a symbiotic nature of relationship. And because of this symbiotic nature of relationship, these corals actually shine in water. So it has a very good and shiny surface, and shine in water, and provides a lot of home to fishes and other aquatic animals. Okay, so there is a region here, a triangle, coral triangle. So most very we could find a lot of corals here in this area. So from the coral triangle, I put the diagram here itself also, so you can get an idea about what is a coral triangle or what region does it include. So first country it is asking Indonesia. So let us locate Indonesia in coral triangle. Yeah, this is the Indonesia. Okay, So Indonesia is there. Vietnam, where do you see Vietnam here? Vietnam is here. So it is out of the Coral Triangle area. Okay, Malaysia is here. So Malaysia is also out of the Coral Triangle area. Then we have Philippines. Philippines is here. Yeah, Philippines is in the Coral Triangle area. So the correct answer is A and D. Okay. So please have a look at this Coral Triangle area and see which countries are there in the Coral Triangle area, like Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, Fiji Islands, New Caledonia. Uh, okay, so there are a lot of islands there. Bali is there, Nusa Lembongan. This seems like a city in Indonesia or something. And we have this Mariana Trench here also. Okay, so Mariana Trench is the deepest point, deepest trench in the ocean. Then we have East China Sea, South China Sea, all those things. Okay, so this seems to be quite an interesting graph, like coral triangle region, including this something looks like a Bermuda Triangle trilogy mystery. Sorry, not trilogy, but it does have a good amount of coral. Which among the given options are provisioning services the people obtain from ecosystem? Okay, so term here is ecosystem. So we'll get to know about a lot in the upcoming weeks about ecosystems, biomes, everything. So these are quite. I leave it to you to search about this term. So in shorter terms, which I say ecosystem is basically interaction about environment and the living beings. Okay, so that's how we make our own ecosystems. Provisioning services, so there are various services that are provided by the ecosystem. So I have put the graph here itself so you guys can actually understand what are the various services. Like provisioning services include clean water from the ecosystem, from the river, groundwater, fish, wood, pollination, then we have regulating services, like it regulates the temperature, control flooding, okay, purify water, store carbon, clean air. Similarly, education, cultural services, also recreation, aesthetic, stewardship. Then we have supporting services, like it supports habitat for animals, biodiversity, also photosynthesis, soil formation, food, etc. So yeah, it's when you see the given options, providing services the people obtain from ecosystem. So first is bioenergy. Okay, so how do we obtain bioenergy? From wood. So wood is one of the source of bioenergy, energy obtained from biological components like burning of wood, etc. Decomposition. Decomposition is not a services of providing services of ecosystem. Soil formation is also not a provisioning services of ecosystem. It doesn't provision for the soil formation. Okay. Medicine. Yeah, we can derive a lot of medicine. Like one of the medicine which you say the in modern era of medicine, like allopathy, the one of the medicine for treatment of malaria, I think quinone or something, was derived from this tree, bark of a tree, cinchona tree or something. So that is one of the provisioning services of the ecosystem. Okay, so A and D are the correct option. So I leave you guys with this graph so you guys can focus on the various ecosystem services and remember the different provisioning, regulating, cultural and supporting services. Okay. I think Alexander Canning was the name of the scientist, Dr. Alexander Canning, who discovered this quinone or something from bark of cinchona tree. I'm not sure about his name, but yeah. So moving to the next slide, because it's already 8:50 and then we wrap up this thing early. Already we have a lot of discussion today and I'm sure you guys are actually enjoying this session. So the process through which methyl mercury is passed along the food chain. So whenever there is a food chain, so you know food chain goes through like this. Like there is a mouse, then there is a cat, then cat is not eaten by anyone. So then it dies, then it goes to vultures, scavengers, or I think if you see rice, then rice is eaten by a pest, then it is eaten by a bird, then it is eaten by a human. So this is how a food chain actually works. So what happens, this actually magnifies if this there is a methyl mercury of 0.25 here, so it will consume 3 of this, so 0.75 here in this food chain. Similarly it goes on magnifying, so due to this magnification it is the term biomagnification is used here. Okay, it's not accumulation. Bioaccumulation is something which is included in the species, in one of the species itself. Okay, like it is getting accumulated due to a prolonged exposure. So this is along the food chain, it is biomagnification. So like yeah, we have the picture here also. Like water, we have methyl mercury in water, and it goes to algae, algae to algae eating insect, then insect eating insects, and it goes to fish, then it goes to fish eating fish, large fish, then this goes to human. Okay, so this is how the mercury concentration actually increases. It goes on growing to biomagnification. Okay, which four sustainable development goals are interconnected with land resources, are connected with land resources, not interconnected? So if we see all the options, well, let's see, compare all the option. Option A is zero hunger. So yeah, this is correct because it is connected with land resources, agriculture, reduced inequalities also land resources, good health and well-being also, and life on land also. Okay, so I think correct answer is option A. Good health and well-being, life on land, reduced inequality, clean water and sanitation. So clean water and sanitation, I don't think is related with land resource. Reduce inequalities, clean water and sanitation, life on land, zero hunger. Okay. Life on land, zero hunger, industry, innovation, infrastructure, climate action. Okay. The correct answer is answer A. So I put sustainable development goals also here, so you guys can actually understand about what are the different sustainable development goals and how they are interrelated. Okay, so we talked about zero hunger, life on land, good health being. Okay, what are the key drivers of land change? So we have urbanization, climate change, gentrification, technology, innovation. So land change, I have tried to show it here. You see a road is going on here, and on the left hand side of the road is basically a jungle, a very dense tree jungle. And on the right hand side we have see there is a land use change here, land change here. All the trees has been cleared, and after some time there will be buildings here. Okay, and there will be agricultural fields here. So this is how a land use change actually looks like. Sometimes it's a mix of these also, but this is how it looks like. So what are the key drivers of land use change? First is urbanization. Okay. Second is climate change, because of climate change, like not here, but in case of climate change, like sea water is rising up. So sea water will flood it here. So this land will go under the sea. Gentrification and technology and innovation. Technology and innovation is the correct term. Gentrification is not related with the land use change. So the correct answer is 1, 2 and 4. Okay. So as per the densification, desertification and land degradation atlas of India, that is here, desertification and land degradation atlas, this is desert and most of the land are actually getting degraded. So with degradation in land, what will happen? It will provide a least support services to the agriculture prepared by Space Application Center. SAC is basically under ISRO, I think. For the period 2011 and 13, approximately 30% of the total geographical area of India is undergoing process of desertification and land degradation. Yeah, correct. True. This is a correct statement. You can see a lot of areas are actually stressed here. You can see in the map itself. So these are actually undergoing a process of desertification and land degradation, which is quite difficult phase. What are the main critical concerns of the food security? So if we see the food security, there are several articles and United Nations are actually focusing a lot on food security. So what are the main critical concerns of the food security? So main critical concerns can be affordability, availability is there. Okay. So food security affordability is another concern. It is not food security concern, but availability of food is a food security concern. If the like rice is not available or wheat is not available, so this is actually a concern. Accessibility, food is there, but it is not accessible by all people. Okay, so this is also a concern. Distribution doesn't come under the critical concerns of the food security. It is a concern, but not a critical concern. So the correct answer is B and C. Which sector consumes the most amount of water? So I put a table here itself, so you guys can actually see which sector actually consuming the most amount of water. So this is from a very old report, but most of the sectors are actually consuming the water in the same proportion as it is seen in the this report. So you can see agriculture is actually consuming a lot of most amount of water, around 76%. That is a quite huge amount of water consumption by agriculture. So that is why it is needed to that agriculture should shift into sustainable farming methods. As per United Nations World Water Assessment Program, the water scarcity is defined as, so this is basically definition type of question, so you need to know the definition. So it is basically defined as less than 1000 meter cube per capita available renewable fresh water per year. So the water availability should be less than 1000 meter cube per capita. Okay. Now this is the last question of the slide, and this is the last question of the assignment which is discussed today in this live session. So last question is, the term economic water scarcity is used where storage, treatment and conveyance infrastructure are lacking. So is this a true statement or false statement? Yeah, this is a true statement. Economic water scarcity is used when storage, treatment and conveyance infrastructure are actually lacking. So what are the types of water scarcity? One is economic water scarcity. So 1.6 billion face economic water shortage. Okay. These are some of the cities which are actually likely to run out of drinking water. Then there is physical water scarcity, like water is not there. Okay. So even if so so these are some of the events which can be impacted. Okay. So where is all the water? So this is a very good graph on Britannica. So I wanted to put it down and show you guys that what are the different water scarcity events. Okay. So yeah, this is a correct statement. So I think all the questions are now discussed from the assignments. I will suggest you guys to read two reports. State of Environment Report India 2015. It's a very good report prepared by Government of India, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And another is Down to Earth, actually annual magazine States of India's Environment. So this is for 2023. There is a report for 22, 21 also. So these actually discuss a lot about India's environment. A very important magazine, Down to Earth. Okay, so these are actually published by two different agencies. This is Government of India. This is from a NGO or something, a very good consultant agency. Okay. down to earth by Center for Science and Environment. Okay, thank you all for this live session. This was a very good and interactive live session with you guys, and I got to find a very good answers and questions from you guys. So if you have anything you want to discuss with me, please find me at this email address, or you can scan this code to go to my website itself. Okay. So thank you all again. And with this, I end this live session, and we will meet again in the next Tuesday from 7 to 9. Okay.